Hello there, everyone. TheAndrata here, and welcome back to episode 37 of our All the Mods 9 to the Sky Let's Play series, where today we are continuing with our Botania, working on automating our Runic Altar, getting ourselves some nether star sucking flowers that get us a ton of power, and yeah, just going through Botania. So let's get started. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful night here in the world of TheAndrata, where we are continuing where we left off last episode with our exploration of Botania and getting ourselves set up and hopefully automating our Runic Altar and everything like that. So yeah, let's dive on in. So last episode we left off with getting ourselves set up with our endo flames and our mana pools and automating our mana pool production for like mana pearls and steel and diamonds and all that stuff with open crates and everything like that. Pretty nifty. I did go ahead and make some more endo flames and spam those out here. This is the max. No, it's not the max that I can make, but it's the max that I can make within the range of our coal that we have being dropped here. So these guys are all linked up to respective mana spreaders, this guy to this one, and then they are just eating the blocks of coal and doing the thing. And it's working pretty well. Like, we're getting a decent amount. Like, we don't have a ridiculous amount, but we have a decent amount. AFKing will definitely help with this. And eventually we're going to be able to get better mana production. Eventually, like, if we can get, like, into nether stars and stuff like that. There's a withering flower that eats nether stars and produces a ton of mana. And as you know, we have nether stars available to us, specifically 18,000 of them just about. So yeah, anyway, so today what I would like to do is get continuing on with our Botania. Before we begin, though, I do have one task that I would like to take care of. In between episodes, I went ahead and I prepped all of the patterns for all of the runes that we are going to be crafting throughout today's episode. So let me talk about that really quick. When we are crafting our runes, specifically, it's very important. When you want to craft up your runes, because of the way that this works, okay, it's as simple as coming in here and hitting the plus sign and encoding the pattern, okay? So we just come in here and we encode the pattern. However, you're going to notice that living rock ends up being the first thing that is on the list, and on the pattern itself, if I encode this, living rock is the first thing on our item. We don't want that, okay? Living rock is the last thing that we want to add in. We want to add all of these things in first and then living rock onto our Runic Altar. And it's pretty simple to change this up. Click your living rock, get rid of it, grab a living rock. Oh, and I forgot to make living rock in between episodes. Put it at the end there, and now if I encode the pattern, it puts it at the bottom. That way it's the last thing that gets added into your recipe. Now, the way that we are going to set this up, I don't 100% know if it's actually going to matter, because we're going to try and automate this utilizing some create and some modular routers and stuff like that. So we'll see how we actually do need to set this up, if that is going to pose a problem. But I did go ahead and do that with all of my recipes and put the living rock at the end just to be safe. And you can see up here, these are all of the different runes that we have available to us. There are more runes. Mythic Botany is in this pack, which is an expansion mod to Botania, which actually allows you to go into the portal to Alfheim and get some crazy stuff going on there, including getting things like Thor's hammer and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Also allows you to get the wither aconite, that flower that I was talking about that eats nether stars, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's an expansion. We're definitely going to end up getting into this, but I didn't teach how to make all of these runes because I don't know exactly how many of those runes are going to ultimately end up being needed. With that being said, though, before we begin Botania, I did want to take care of one task for our runes that we have. The rune of, is it winter? Yes, winter requires cake. Cake requires milk. So we need milk on hand. And I have the ability to get myself milk fairly easily. I would like to see, if I use this cow, am I going to be making it so I can't get other cows? I am. So let's grab another mob imprisonment tool, both of these cows and some wheat, and another mob imprisonment tool. Because I don't want to end up not being able to ever have cows again in case they're needed for some sort of recipe or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and get the cows, breed them up really quick, and get a baby going. There we go. Okay, and then we will grab the baby. Just means that the baby in the future is going to have to be, adultified, but that's okay. And then we can grab you. So what we're going to be working on making is automated way of getting milk. And the easiest way, because cooking for blockheads is inside of here, is to get ourselves a cow in a jar. Pretty simple. In order to do so, we have to get ourselves an anvil. We have to get ourselves a milk jar. That's going to require a bucket of milk. Okay, that's fine. Let's grab a bucket then. Now, I believe we can do this if we had cow essence, but we don't have cow essence. And could I get cow essence fairly easily? Absolutely, but I don't need to. Milk buckets and then milk jar. And so what we have to do is take our cow, take the milk jar, and let's do it over here. Maybe here. So we take our milk jar. And I hope that doesn't like break the milk jar or something. We take our cow and then we take an anvil and we drop the anvil on the cow. Let's go up one higher. And it'll put it into the cow in a jar. Pretty simple. And now that cow in a jar will start generating milk for us. What are we going to do with that? Well, pretty simple. We can go ahead and set ourselves up over here with a fluid drawer and get milk into our systems. Now we can craft milk buckets. I like it. Fluid drawer. We can get a puller upgrade on this to pull from the back of that. That will be fine. And then get some diamond upgrades. It looks like we have 2 of those. Okay, so 1, 2. We're going to go ahead and get the cow in a jar. Place this guy back here. He's tiny, by the way. And then we're going to pull from the north. Nope, that's up. North. There we go. And we should start getting milk pulled into the system. With that, we can go ahead and lock the drawer and then bind the drawer. I did go ahead and add a diamond upgrade to this, by the way. I figured out how to upgrade these. Add upgrades into there. It increases the range. Pretty simple. But you go ahead and bind that. And now in AE, we have milk available to us. If I were to click the correct button, there we go. Milk. Not a whole bucket yet, but we have milk. So with that being said, we can go ahead and craft milk buckets as needed for the thing. Do I need to teach the system how to make milk buckets, or because it's in the system and I have buckets available, it already knows? I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, so back to Botania. So today I'd like to work on getting our Runic Altar going. And it should be as simple as making ourselves a Runic Altar. So if I go ahead and clear off our inventory just a little itty bitty bit, and I look at the Runic Altar, it's going to say, hey, it requires a mana diamond and or a mana pearl. TheAndrata already went ahead and made himself a mana pearl pretty simply by taking a ender pearl and dropping it in, or by saying, hey, I want a mana diamond, and telling the system to make it for me, and it does. And then it gets vacuumed. It gets vacuumed after I program it to get vacuumed. Haha. I need to actually craft each one of those things so that I can get more of them. Mana diamond. Let's get mana quartz. Let's get mana glass and a mana pearl. And you can see we have all the resources available for all that. You are the... Oh, and we need mana powder. Forgot to actually do this portion of things. Okay. So mana powder. Diamond and pearls go here, so pearls and powder. And then over here must be the quartz and the mana glass. Okay, so now system is happy. All those crafts are done, and we are golden. Cool. Okay, so the Runic Altar. The Runic Altar is going to go ahead and get made. Didn't I make the Runic Altar? Where did it go? Did I shove it into the system? I did. The Runic Altar is, well, where all of the runes from Botania are going to be crafted. I mean, the runes are the main crafting components of pretty much everything in Botania. If we take a look at our quest book over here, you're going to see runes. Runes is where we are at. And our goal is to get ourselves to this Terra Steel so that way we can open the portal and eventually fight the Gaia spirit and do the thing. But runes is where the magic is going to happen. It allows us to craft all of the different things that we are going to need to do. Now, these are new lenses here. Are they new, or they're new to me? That's probably what it is. They're just new to me. Anyway, so our Runic Altar. Now, I am following a guide from Enigmatica 6, okay? The Enigmatica 6 wiki, which actually happens to be the exact same guide that I followed in my Enigmatica 6 expert playthrough series. Modified, though, for applied energistics, and the fact that applied energistics has a blocking mode built into itself, and the fact that create has been updated and we no longer have access to an adjustable repeater. We have now what we call a pulse extender, and we're going to try this out and see if this is going to work. But the Runic Altar is made by dropping items onto it and then smacking it with a wand of the forest. Okay, so we got to handle the smacking portion of things first. And we're going to do so utilizing a modular router with an activator module and a wand of the forest. Pretty simple. Okay. Now, I'm debating if I want to do this setup not here. I'm curious to know if I craft something with this and I use, this is going to look terrible. It's not going to look nice is what's going to happen here. Okay. It's not going to be a very aesthetic setup here, but I was thinking of using a, what is that mod called? The entangled blocks and entangling this below. However, the items are going to pop out of this anyway, and I kind of sort of want to make sure that my vacuum module is going to be able to do it. Plus, I don't know if the entangled block outputs the redstone signal in the same way that the runic block, like the Runic Altar, is going to. I guess we could find out. Okay, let's get this. Let's automate this as is now, and then maybe we can make this look nicer. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and take our activator module. We're going to shove it into our modular router, and we're going to say, hey, on the front of you, I just want you to right click. Okay, don't have to do anything fancy. You're just going to right click. Always do it and take a wand of the forest, and it's just always going to be right clicking. And you can see there that the light is lit up, which means that it is operating. It is right clicking the wand of the forest on the Runic Altar. That's step number one, because in order to do anything, we have to have it right clicking. We're also going to need to get ourselves another open crate because we need to be able to drop items onto our Runic Altar, and we're going to need to get ourselves a pattern provider, which conveniently I happen to have in my backpack. So we have that, and then we have a extended pattern provider, and we can have this guy sit here, and then we can run cabling from underneath probably because I don't want to have extra cabling. I don't know. It's not going to look great anyway, so does it really matter at this point? I don't honestly think so. It was looking pretty good, but now because this is not going to be even, it's going to be all funky, but that's okay. Just get over it, TheAndrata. Get over it. There. This is why I shove things into compact machines. Then I don't have to worry about how they look because you never see them. Trick of the trade there. And I'm going to, you know what? I don't know if it's going to actually matter, but I'm adding a cable on the other side just so that it matches. Hopefully that doesn't mess with anything. Anyway, so we have our extended pattern provider. We went extended because, I mean, you can see we have a ton of recipes that we're going to have to put inside of this. So we have this in here. Now, importantly, we are going to need to come over here to where it says lock crafting, and we want to lock crafting until the crafting result is returned to the pattern provider. The Runic Altar can only craft one thing at a time. So if we request 10 runes of winter, we do not want 10 sets of recipes dropping onto this. We do not want it to drop until the rune of winter is specifically returned to the system. Then it can go ahead and craft the next batch of things. Now, before we do anything else, we are going to need to get ourselves mana into this, the Runic Altar. And the best way for us to get mana is to be utilizing sparks. So we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves 5 total sparks. 1 to go on top of the Runic Altar, and then 1 to go on top of each of our mana pools that we have going on here. Sparks are pretty simple in their setup. What it does is if this needs mana, it's going to know it's going to... Oh, that spark went into there. I want the spark to go attached to this. Do it. It's going into the Runic Altar, not... Oops, nope, excuse me. Give me my stuff back. How do I... What if I get rid of this open crate for a minute? Yeah, it's putting the spark in the Runic Altar. That's not what I want. I want the spark... Oh, wait, no. This requires a mana pool, doesn't it? Yeah, and a mana spreader. Sparks are for the terrestrial agglomeration plate at some point. I can't use sparks on the Runic Altar. That's kind of sort of a bummer, to be honest with you. But we could put a mana pool here and then a spreader. Let me take a look at the quest book, because again, like I said, I'm familiar with Botania, but it's been a while. Place components, the rune you want on it, finish crafting, and doesn't need mana. Runes used for recipes, yada yada yada. We need mana. Yeah, we're gonna need mana to get into this. How do we want to get mana into this? Because now my setup is quite ugly. Let me do some thinking. I'll be right back. All right, well, my hope is that this is going to work. I put the spark on top of the mana pool, so hopefully when this needs mana, it can pull from those mana pools over to here, get spread, and then shoved into the Runic Altar. We'll see what happens, which means I can put my open crate back where it was. Like so. Okay. I do actually need to go ahead and name this pattern provider, though, because it has no name currently, and it's going to... give me... that. It's going to say open crate. Those already say open crate, so let's go ahead and name this really quick. Give me a level of experience. I wish there was a mod that made it so that naming things didn't require experience. That'd be kind of handy. I know we can get the labeler in like industrial foregoing, or not industrial foregoing, integrated dynamics and do this, but I don't have all the mineral. So we're going to name this Runic Altar. Okay. And because I mentioned it, the labeler requires a book and quill. And labeler. Can we make the labeler? We can make the labeler. Labeler is pretty nice because it's kind of sort of exactly what I just said I wanted it to be. It just, one tool names things for you. You don't have to worry about it. And yeah, very handy to have for modded Minecraft and applied energistics and all that stuff. But for now, we're okay because we just used a level for it. Okay, but now we know that this is the Runic Altar. Okay, so that being said, our next goal is to go ahead and get ourselves set up with this other portion of the automation. Now, this portion is going to be slightly more complicated, but hopefully everything works. And we can kind of sort of see what we have going on here. So the Runic Altar is fancy in that it outputs a redstone signal when it is crafting and ready to craft. When it is crafting, it will output a redstone signal, I believe, of 1. And when it is ready to craft, when it has finished that craft and it's ready to accept new inputs, it will output a redstone signal of 2, okay, a higher redstone signal. So what we want to do is utilize that fact to trigger a vacuum module on a modular router to suck up our craft. Okay, take the craft, suck it up, put it in the system, and then the next one is available to go. And the reason that we're doing this, when we get with these runes right here, this is pretty simple, right? We put this stuff in here, we get 2 runes. We could just have a vacuum module set up with the rune of water. Fairly simple, right? Rune of water, rune of earth, rune of air, all that stuff. Once we get into these runes, though, we actually have to start doing some micro crafting where we use a rune of water and a rune of fire to make a rune of spring. So if I have a vacuum module configured to vacuum up all runes of water that we get into the system, well, when the open crate drops that, it's going to immediately pick that up, and then the craft is going to fail. So we have to account for that. So that's where this setup is going to come into play. Now, with this, what we want to do is we're going to use what we call a comparator for sure. We're going to use a pulse extender. We're going to try this out and see if this works. This is from Create. And normally, what I would want to use would be a adjustable repeater from Create. However, the adjustable repeater has been split. It is no longer in the system. Like, you cannot have an adjustable repeater anymore. What it has become is now the pulse repeater and the pulse extender. That took that block and it split it. But what the pulse extender does is it extends a pulse, as it says, and it is configurable for how long do you want that pulse to be extended. So if I take, for example, a button and I place this here, I currently have this set for 3 seconds. So if I take this, it's going to get that pulse and it's going to keep that on for 3 seconds and then turn it off. Okay, and it's going to be a full signal. So 3 seconds and then it turns it off. And the way that this should work, okay, is when the redstone or the runic altar is crafting, as long as there is enough mana, and that's a big portion of things. When the runic altar is crafting, it's going to output a signal, which is going to turn this on. While this is turned on and it's actively receiving a signal, it's going to be triggering our vacuum module inside of our modular router to suck up anything that it absolutely can except for living rock. Living rock, as you see with all these things, they like go into the runic altar. Living rock does not. Living rock just chills out on top of the runic altar. So we need to specifically make sure that we do not pick up the living rock that comes into our vacuum module. Okay, let's get all this stuff out of here. Nope. And some of it went into here because I had that open. Give me that. Okay. Now we want this to go as fast as it possibly can because we are playing with some timing here with that 3-second window and everything. We want it to go as absolute fast as it can. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our vacuum module and we are going to configure this to blacklist living rock. You will not pick up any living rock, period. Okay. You are then going to, you're also going to get a fast pickup augment so you can pick up fast. And you are going to go ahead and send into our pattern provider. Okay. So anything that you get sucked up is going to get sent into the pattern provider. We're then going to go over here and we're going to change this to redstone mode high. And theoretically, that should be it. So the redstone signal or the runic altar is going to send a signal. Once it is done, it's going to send a full signal over here, which will trigger this 3 seconds. It's going to have 3 seconds for everything to get picked up there. Once it's picked up, it'll send it into the pattern provider, which will complete the craft. And that's why I have these set to go super fast, because if it's picking up runes, like for example, the rune of wrath requires rune of earth and winter. If it picks up the rune of wrath first and then it dumps that into here, or if it picks up the rune of wrath first and it puts it into there, it's going to say, hey, the craft's done. But it still hasn't picked up the earth and winter. So we have this going as fast as it possibly can, which means it should instantly shove everything into the runic altar for us. If it ends up being an issue, we could put a buffer chest above this so that it sends everything into the buffer chest first. Then the buffer chest does the thing for us, but we'll see. And then it should trigger the new craft. Make sense? I hope so. It makes sense in my brain. And I have set this up before in Enigmatica 6, like I said, and it worked fantastically. So we're going to go ahead and push all of these runes into here. Now, the only concern that I have is the mana portion of things, so we'll see, but let's request a rune of water and see what happens here. Remember, it's going to craft 2 of those, but it should drop everything. You see the signal is going and it's saying it's on, and it's going to stay on the entire time because the runic altar it's ready to craft. Like it's ready to go. It's going to try and craft. So this is currently trying to suck up anything that's in the area. And you know what? No. Yes? No. We might modify this. Now that I think about it, runes have a tag, don't they? Botania runes. We could filter this and say, make sure that it only picks up Botania runes. I'm afraid that the range of this is going to be matching that. So let's do this. And we're going to say, nope, it just picked something. It picked up yeah, never mind. It did pick up the living rock, which is not what I wanted. Also, my spark is not working to send mana over to here. I thought the sparks were going to suck up. This needs mana, so I thought it was going to be like, oh, okay, look, we need mana. Bring it over here. But I guess I would have to get a dominant spark over here, wouldn't I, in order for it to make sure that that's done. And a dominant spark is going to require a rune of fire. And we have to open up the portal to Alfheim and get pixie dust, because I don't have any pixie dust, right? No. Okay. So we need to get mana over here. Let's get a mana tablet and just transfer mana this way for the moment. Drop you. What picked that up? It was you, wasn't it? Let me do this. Watch. If we see a red or a string. Oh. Well, that was a bummer. I threw that right down in that hole. That was not intended. Let's do It's not. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Actually, is there a way to facade this that doesn't happen? Because this is going to spit items out wherever, and it may end up dropping them. Are there covers for ME cables? That'd be kind of nice to know. Yeah. What's picking it up? I don't know if it's. It can't be you. You're filtered to whitelist only those. So let's grab a mana tablet then, and we'll blacklist mana tablet over here. Don't pick up my mana tablet and match, ignore item damage because that has durability. So now you're not picking it up. Okay, good. So now we can go ahead and throw this in there and we can say, hey, fill up the mana tablet for me, please. Let's check on you. How you doing coal block wise? Go ahead and get some more. And our mana tablet has mana in it. So now we can go ahead and drop it into here. And it should start filling that up, which is going to start working on this. Okay, so that's doing it. Bam. It worked. Other than the fact that we need mana in this, it did work. It picked it up. It did the thing. That's not no longer trying to pick anything up. So now we have a rune of water. So let's go with Botania, and let's request multiple different runes, right? Let's get a rune of fire. We're missing living rock. I have used all my living rock. Bummer. Okay. Let me get some living rock. Okay, now to really test the system out, we want to go ahead and request the different types of runes and make sure that everything is going to work as we expect. So we want a rune of fire. We'll go ahead and request that. We're going to want to request at the same time a rune of, these are not in order. Rune of air, rune of earth. There we go. So, yep, it's requesting the rune of air now. Good. And then it should do the rune of earth. Yes? Oh, the mana powder needed. You know what? The mana powder fell. It did, didn't it? The mana powder fell down and it wasn't crafted because I heard it go ding, but it didn't actually craft. Okay, we need to fix that problem. I need to see if there's like covers or something for this because that kind of sucks. Okay, there we go. And that's going to do the rune of earth for us. So with those done now, okay, so that takes care of those. That's turning off. Bam, it sucked everything up, sent it into the system. It's working great. Now we want to request a more complicated rune, though, because that's where this whole setup is going to be important. So let's say I want to eventually switch these over. Our goal is to make ourselves a rune of pride. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and get, because that wither aconite flower requires runes of pride in order to be made. Okay, so we're going to want 2 of these. I just don't know if we have the mana for this at the moment, but we'll request 1 rune of pride to start with. It's going to drop all the stuff. It's going to make it. Now what we should see happen is this craft fully complete and those get shoved into the system. Yes, I don't know why another living rock dropped though. Or was this living rock already there from me doing it earlier? Something got messed up there, didn't it? We're going to have to try this again. I want to craft this 1 rune of pride. That way I can get it out of the system, and then we'll try this again, because something got messed up there. Okay. So rune of pride. We'll take this out. I don't want it. I want to craft another one. In order to do so, I want to take out that rune of summer, because those runes get reused, or they're reusable. I don't want them to be in here at the moment. Okay. Because I want it to craft, I want it to do a multi-craft. Like it's going to have to craft these things. You know what? Let's get all of the runes out and let's just test. If I ask for a rune of pride, let's say I have nothing in the system. What does it do? Sand drives me crazy. Okay. Okay, so it's currently making a rune of earth, it looks like. Crafts it. And now it's stuck. What is it getting? Why is it getting stuck? I wish there was a way to see what is it trying. Oh, you know what? Did that get that? For some reason, didn't I change this until primary craft is returned? How did that? You know what? I broke it and replaced it. Okay, cancel this. Try again. Try again. Okay, it should be working. That was my fault. The sand. I really need to get sand taken care of and available into our system. Not suspicious sand, just regular sand. Get into the system. Okay. Now, as long as we have enough mana at this point, we should be okay because it should lock the crafting. That's what was happening. It was not locking the crafting until the result was returned. And we just ended up with that issue that it tried to drop. It dropped too soon. So even with this full speed upgraded, it was not fast enough. The rune of earth went in there and it tried to push the other stuff down, it looks like. Because now it's trying to craft the rune of summer, but it did not push any of the stuff into here. How can we get this to work? Let me think about this for a minute. Okay, it's definitely going to require more testing. I think this is working okay. So instead, I just had a buffer so that way everything can end up going into this barrel first and then get pulled into the modular router. And then, I don't know. I tested it out and I ended up getting my Rune of Pride. But we'll see. The problem is I have a bunch of these other runes now and mana is limited, so I don't want to go too crazy with it. But for now, it seems okay. Like I'm content with where we are at with this. So what I want to do is before we end up wrapping up this episode, let me turn this off. I'd like to get this Wither Aconite going in order to speed up this process and get us more mana. And then we can go ahead and next episode we'll open up the portal to Alfheim and then finish off our Botania exploration. So in order to get the Wither Aconite, we're going to need some petals. I want 2 of these. So let's get those 2 prides. We're going to need 2 black petals. We're also going to need 2 wheat seeds. Then we're going to need a wither rose. Okay, and you're going to be like, well, TheAndrata, where are you going to get wither roses from? You don't have any. Pretty simple. I believe that the what's the trader wither rose, the market. There we go. The market can get it for me. So if I grab a market for the cost of 1 measly emerald, or 2 in this case, because we're going to need 2 of them, we will be able to get ourselves a wither rose. Now he's going to land on that. Boop. There. But if I talk to him, I can get myself a nice wither rose. 2 of them. Bam and bam. And we got our wither roses. The market is a fantastic block for stuff such as that. And goodbye. Cool. So we got our 2 wither roses. Now we can go ahead and get ourselves water. Apparently I put a bucket away. And do the thing. So we're going to do one of you. Nope. Shouldn't have held control Q. Just meant to hold Q. Give me that. Thank you. So we got 1. Then that. Then that. Then that. Excuse me. Is that not the recipe? Sorry. It is 2 dye. Where's my other dye? Actually, where is the other dye? Petal. You. And then you will give me a wither aconite. Okay, cool. Do it again. With this. And we get 2 of these. Okay, cool. So with that being said, we can go ahead and get rid of all of our endo flames. We don't need these guys anymore. Oh, this is on off mode. I'm like super concerned with breaking things. Oh, and apparently I can't vein mine the endo flames. I've broken the grass again since that last time I broke the grass. But what we're going to do is we're going to get our wither aconites, and we're going to go ahead. We can place them here and here. And the way that these guys need to work is slightly different. They need to get ender pearls. They need to get nether stars placed above them. However, they need them to be directly on top of them. Okay, so we're going to grab our Wither Aconite. I'm going to place them down again. That way they're bound to this mana spreader, and we can validate that with the Wand of the Forest. We don't need all those extra mana spreaders. 1 mana spreader is fine. 2 would be okay because we do have extra. Do we want to do 2? No, yes, maybe later. Anyway, we need to get the stuff dropped directly on top of these, which again is easily handled by our open crate not by our open crate, by create, because the andesite funnel is actually smart. It can detect entities below it too, and on the ground to make sure that it doesn't drop extra. So the andesite funnel is what we're going to want for this. We're going to want to get ourselves another barrel, and I should have built one up for this. So that way we can do this, and then get ourselves a barrel, and then another barrel. Cool. Then we get ourselves our andesite funnels. And the andesite funnel is smart enough to know that there is a block below this. It won't drop extra. So if I take a nether star, and what this is going to actually do is convert our nether stars over, by the way. So if we take these and we put this in here, and I put this in here, it's not going to drop all of them. It's only going to keep one in there. And the Wither Aconites are going to start doing their thing. And what they do is they change the nether star to have a durability. So you can see here, oh, and we can actually recharge these. That's hilarious. So it turns it into a faded nether star, which gives the nether star durability. What I want to do is come down, and actually, yeah, that should not have allowed me to pick that up. It's probably just because I was close to it. But if we take a look at this guy's full. This mana spreader is literally cannot keep up with the amount of mana that is being produced inside of these. He is running his absolute hardest. His heart is going, and he is producing a ton of mana. Like, look at the mana that we have going on now. These guys produce a lot of mana, and the durability on those does not go down super duper fast, and it just continuously will operate. Once those fade out and they disappear, it'll drop another nether star for us, and then so on and so forth. And I want to swap that first. And it'll just keep it going, and it'll just keep producing mana for us, and we're producing mana pretty decently. Now, we can upgrade this. We can upgrade our mana spreader to a higher tier mana spreader. We can also go ahead and upgrade it with lenses to make it move faster and stuff, which we're definitely going to take a look at in the next episode. But this episode has gone on long enough. So if you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Tips, tricks, suggestions, especially for that Runic Altar automation. It's working kind of, sort of, but kind of, sort of also at the same time not. So I don't really know what else I could change with this to see. Maybe adjusting that delay frequency there. I think the issue is the crafter is unlocking too soon. I don't know, because it's really weird. It's like it's unlocking, but it's then not dropping all of the stuff. It's like it hasn't. What it seems like is happening, if the Rune of Pride, for example, requires a Rune of Summer and a Rune of Winter, whatever. It gets sucked up. It creates the Rune of Winter, perfectly fine, gets sucked up and put in. It then immediately tries to craft the Rune of Pride, but AE2 hasn't caught up with the fact that the Rune of Summer is available to be dropped. So I don't know where that there's a disconnect happening there somewhere that it's not triggering. So AE2 dumps everything out, but it doesn't have any of the stuff yet. And so it just dumps the living rock, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to go. But it didn't dump out the Rune of Summer and the Rune of Winter and things like that. So it seems like an AE issue, and I'm not entirely sure how I can go about fixing that. Luckily, we don't need a ton of runes in this for Botania and everything for our All the Mods star. We don't need, like, we're not going to go too crazy here. I think it's in, I don't even know where. I don't know. Botania is somewhere in here, and we needed Botania for something, but I don't think we need to go super duper crazy with our Botania. So anyway, yeah, that's it for today's episode. Tips, tricks, suggestions, leave them in the comments if you like. Feel free to comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I think I said that already. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.